Hi there. My name is Alex. Just a few days ago, I moved to this beautiful little town called Sunnyville. Moving here was a big step for me. You see, I don't speak much English, and that makes everything feel a little scary. But I'm determined to learn, and I know I'll get better day by day. Sunnyville is unlike any place I've ever been. It's calm, friendly, and full of warm, smiling faces. Today, I decided to step outside and explore the town. My goal? To learn something new, practice a few words, and maybe even talk to someone. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. As I put on my shoes and grab my bag, I think about the adventure ahead. Who knows what surprises this new day might bring? The moment I stepped outside, the sun greeted me with a warm embrace. The sky was a brilliant blue, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers from a nearby garden. Sunnyville truly lived up to its name. The streets were alive with quiet energy, neighbors watering plants, kids riding bikes, and the occasional cheerful bark of a dog. I walked slowly, taking in my surroundings. There was a small park across the street with benches under shady trees. On the corner, I spotted a bakery with a sign that read, "Fresh bread daily." My stomach growled, reminding me that I hadn't eaten yet. I decided to make the bakery my first stop. As I approached, I peeked through the window. Shelves lined with golden brown bread and pastries called out to me. Taking a deep breath, I pushed the door open, and a little bell jingled above me. The smell was heavenly: warm bread, cinnamon, and a hint of chocolate. A friendly-looking man behind the counter smiled at me. "Hello, welcome to Sunnyville Bakery. How can I help you?" he asked. For a moment, I froze. His words sounded simple, but my brain raced to find the right response. I took another breath and managed to say, "Hi, I need bread and milk, please." He nodded encouragingly. "Sure thing. What kind of bread would you like? White bread or brown bread?" "White bread, brown bread." I didn't know the difference, so I pointed to a loaf on the shelf. "That one, please," I said. "White bread." "Got it," he replied with a smile. "And how much milk?" "How much?" I quickly pointed to a small bottle in the fridge. "That," I said, feeling a little awkward but proud that I managed to communicate. "Perfect. Anything else?" I shook my head. "No, thank you." He rang up my items, and I handed him some cash. "Welcome to Sunnyville," he said as he handed me my change. "Thank you," I replied, feeling a little more confident. With my bag in hand, I stepped out of the bakery, a small smile forming on my face. It was just a small conversation, but it felt like a victory. As I left the bakery, I replayed the conversation in my mind. The man's words echoed, "How can I help you?" I couldn't help but smile. It was the first real exchange I'd had since moving here, and even though it was simple, it felt like a big step forward. I didn't walk far before I realized I'd forgotten something. Butter. How could I have bread without butter? Laughing at myself, I turned back toward the bakery. The little bell jingled again as I stepped inside, and the man behind the counter greeted me with the same friendly smile. "Back so soon?" he teased gently. "Yes," I said, feeling a little shy but determined. I need butter, please." "Of course," he said, walking to the fridge. "We have salted and unsalted butter. Which one would you like? Salted or unsalted?" The words swirled in my head. I wasn't sure what to choose, so I simply pointed to the first one I saw. That one. Salted butter. A good choice, he said with a nod. He handed it to me and added, anything else this time? No. No, that's all, I replied, feeling more confident with every word. As he rang up the butter, he asked, are you new here? Yes, I said, trying to form a full sentence. I moved here a few days ago. Well, welcome to Sunnyville, he said warmly. It's a wonderful place. You'll love it here. Thank you, I said, smiling as I handed him the money. After paying, I carefully put the butter into my bag and waved goodbye. Bye, see you next time, he called out as I left. Outside, the sunlight felt even warmer than before. I had just completed my first back-and-forth conversation in English. It wasn't perfect, but I did it. Each small interaction was building my confidence, and I started to feel a little less like a stranger in Sunnyville. As I walked down the street, I noticed more stores. There was a small market, a flower shop, and even a bookstore. I couldn't help but feel excited about all the opportunities to practice speaking. For now, though, I decided to take my bread and butter home and enjoy a quiet breakfast. On the way back, I saw an elderly woman watering flowers in her garden. She looked up, smiled, and waved. Good morning, she said cheerfully. Good morning, I replied, trying to mimic her tone. Her smile widened, and she nodded approvingly. It was just 2 words, but I felt proud. Small steps, I reminded myself. Small steps. As I reached my apartment, I realized that speaking English wasn't as scary as I'd thought. The people in Sunnyville were kind and patient, and every interaction felt like a new opportunity to learn. I opened my door, sat at the table, and spread the butter over a slice of bread. With the first bite, I thought about all the words I had used today. Bread, milk, butter, salted, unsalted, good morning. Not bad for my first real day in Sunnyville. After finishing my breakfast, I felt energized and ready to explore more of Sunnyville. The fresh bread and butter were simple but comforting, and I couldn't help but feel a growing excitement about the day ahead. Stepping back outside, I decided to take a different route. The streets were peaceful, lined with small, colorful houses and blooming flower beds. As I walked, I noticed a little dog sniffing around near a bench. Its wagging tail made me smile. Hello there, I said softly, crouching down to pet it. The dog's owner, a friendly-looking man in his 40s, approached with a leash in hand. Looks like he's made a new friend, he said with a laugh. I hesitated for a moment, trying to find the right words. He is very happy, I said, pointing to the dog's tail. The man chuckled. Yes, he is. His name is Buddy. What's yours? My name is Alex, I replied. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Alex. Are you new here? He asked. Yes, I said, nodding. I moved here a few days ago. Well, welcome to Sunnyville, he said warmly. I'm Mark. If you ever need anything, just let me know. Thank you, I said, feeling grateful for his kindness. Buddy barked playfully, pulling Mark's attention. I think he wants to keep walking. Enjoy your day, Alex. You too, I said, waving as they walked away. The brief interaction left me feeling more confident. Every small conversation was a step forward, and people like Mark made it easier to practice without fear of making mistakes. I continued walking and soon found myself in the town square. It was a charming area with a fountain in the center and several small shops surrounding it. One shop caught my eye, a bookstore with large windows displaying colorful covers. Curious, I stepped inside. The faint smell of paper and ink filled the air, and a cheerful woman behind the counter greeted me. "Hello. Let me know if you need help finding anything." I nodded and smiled. "Thank you." As I wandered through the aisles, I noticed a small section labeled Learn English. The shelves were filled with books for beginners, flashcards, and even picture dictionaries. One book in particular caught my attention: Everyday English for Beginners. I picked it up and flipped through the pages. It had simple phrases, pictures, and even practice exercises. It seemed perfect for someone like me. The woman from the counter approached. "That's a great choice," she said. "Are you learning English?" "Yes," I said, holding up the book. "I need to practice more." She smiled warmly. "You're doing great. Sunnyville is a wonderful place to practice. People here are always happy to help." "Thank you," I replied, feeling encouraged by her kind words. After buying the book, I stepped outside and sat on a bench near the fountain. I flipped to the first page, which was all about greetings and introductions. As I read through the examples, I realized how much I had already learned today from my conversations at the bakery and with Mark. The sun was starting to set, casting a golden glow over the square. With my new book in hand, I felt ready to take on whatever challenges awaited me next. Sunnyville was starting to feel a little more like home. As I walked home with my new book in hand, I thought about everything I had learned today. The conversations at the bakery, meeting Mark and Buddy, and even the kind woman at the bookstore, it all felt like small victories. But I also noticed something important. I needed to focus on improving my pronunciation and building confidence when speaking. Once back at my apartment, I decided to sit down and go through the book I had just bought, Everyday English for Beginners. The first section was about greetings and simple questions. It showed examples like, "Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. Can I help you?" I repeated each phrase out loud, paying attention to how the words sounded. I remembered how the man at the bakery said, "How can I help you?" and how Mark had said, "Are you new here?" Repeating their phrases helped me feel more comfortable with the way the words flowed. The book also included some tips for practicing English in everyday life. Repeat phrases you hear during conversations. For example, when the woman in the bookstore said, "Let me know if you need help," I could practice saying it back in my mind or out loud later. Use small phrases to build confidence, saying things like "thank you," "please," or "I need." Might seem simple, but they are powerful tools for connecting with people. Don't be afraid of mistakes. The book reminded me that making mistakes is a natural part of learning. Everyone I met today was kind and patient, which made me realize it's okay to ask for help or repeat myself. I also thought about some challenges I faced today. For example, when the man at the bakery asked, "White bread or brown bread?" I didn't know the difference. Next time, I can prepare by learning more about common words related to food and other everyday items. By the end of my study session, I felt motivated. Each word and phrase I practiced brought me one step closer to feeling confident in my new home. Tomorrow, I would try to use these tips to have even better conversations. Feeling inspired by the tips in my new book, I decided to challenge myself. If I wanted to improve my English, I needed to practice not only reading and repeating but also creating my own sentences. With that in mind, I opened to a section called Everyday Conversations. The book suggested a simple exercise. Imagine a conversation and practice both sides. I started with something familiar, a dialogue in the bakery. Me. Good morning, clerk. Good morning. How can I help you? Me. I need bread and milk, please. Clerk. What kind of bread would you like? Me. White bread, please. Clerk. Here you go. Anything else? Me. No, thank you. I repeated this dialogue out loud a few times, speaking slowly to focus on my pronunciation. Each time, the sentences felt smoother. Then I challenged myself to add new details. Me. Do you sell butter? Clerk. Yes, we do. Salted or unsalted? Me. Salted, please. And, do you have eggs? Clerk. Yes, we have eggs. How many do you need? Me. A dozen, please. Adding these details made the practice more fun, and it also helped me learn new words like butter, eggs, and dozen. After finishing the bakery scene, I decided to try another situation, meeting someone new. Me. Hello, my name is Alex. Neighbor. Hi, Alex. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you. Me. Nice to meet you too. Are you from Sunnyville? Neighbor. Yes, I've lived here for 5 years. What about you? Me. I just moved here a few days ago. Neighbor. Welcome to the neighborhood. I practiced these lines until I felt confident saying them naturally. Then I stood in front of a mirror and tried to add facial expressions, imagining I was really meeting someone for the first time. Finally, I wrote down a few questions I could ask next time I talked to someone. How long have you lived here? What's your favorite place in Sunnyville? Can you recommend a good restaurant? By the time I finished, I felt ready for my next real-life conversation. Practicing dialogues like this helped me organize my thoughts, and I couldn't wait to try them out the next day. The next morning, I woke up feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Today, I was determined to explore more of Sunnyville and put my newly practiced English skills to use. With my phrases and questions fresh in my mind, I set out on another walk through the town. The streets were lively as usual, with neighbors tending to their gardens and children playing outside. As I reached the town square, I noticed a small market I hadn't seen before. The colorful stalls were packed with fresh fruits, vegetables, and handmade goods. The cheerful chatter of shoppers filled the air. Feeling both nervous and excited, I decided to approach a fruit stand. A kind-looking woman stood behind the table, arranging oranges into a pyramid. She greeted me with a warm smile. Good morning. How can I help you? She asked. I smiled back, remembering the dialogues I had practiced. Good morning. I need apples, please, I said, my voice steady. Sure. Red apples or green apples? She asked, holding up one of each. I paused for a moment, then confidently replied, Red apples, please, 3. She nodded and placed 3 shiny red apples into a bag. Anything else? I glanced at the other fruits and decided to challenge myself. Do you have bananas? Yes, we do, she said, pointing to a stack nearby. How many would you like? 5, please, I said, proud that the conversation was flowing smoothly. As she handed me the bag of bananas, I decided to try asking a question. How much is everything? She smiled. The apples are $3 and the bananas are $2. That's $5 in total. I handed her the money and said, Thank you. You're welcome. she replied. Have a great day. As I walked away with my bag of fruit, I couldn't stop smiling. It was a simple interaction, but it felt like a big accomplishment. The phrases I had practiced came naturally, and for the first time, I felt truly comfortable speaking in English. Continuing my walk, I spotted a small cafe with outdoor seating. I decided to treat myself to a coffee and practice ordering something new. The barista greeted me with a friendly, "Hi there. What can I get for you?" "I would like a coffee, please," I said, pointing to the menu. "Medium. Do you want it hot or iced?" She asked. "Hot, please," I replied. She nodded and asked, "Do you want sugar or cream?" "Just sugar, please," I said, feeling more at ease with each response. After paying, I found a seat outside and sipped my coffee while watching the bustle of the square. The conversations I'd had today, though small, were milestones in my journey. Each word, each phrase, and each question was a step toward feeling at home in Sunnyville. As the afternoon sun dipped lower in the sky, I reflected on how far I had come in just a few days. From nervously stepping into the bakery to confidently ordering coffee, I could feel myself growing more comfortable with the language and the town. I opened my notebook and jotted down the new phrases I had learned today, like "how many?" and "do you want it hot or iced?" Each phrase was a building block, bringing me closer to fluency. Before heading home, I took a deep breath and looked around the square one last time. Sunnyville wasn't just a place to live, it was a place to grow, learn, and connect. With every interaction, I felt more like a part of this vibrant community. Tomorrow would be another opportunity to explore, practice, and discover. But for now, I was content, grateful for the journey so far. As the day came to an end, I sat by the window in my apartment, watching the golden glow of the sunset spread across Sunnyville. With my notebook open and a warm cup of tea in hand, I reflected on everything I had learned. Today, I spoke in English at a fruit stand, ordered coffee at a cafe, and even asked questions with confidence. These were small steps, but each one felt like a victory. I realized that learning a new language wasn't just about memorizing words, it was about connecting with people, experiencing new things, and being patient with myself. I wrote down my favorite phrase of the day, "How many?" It was such a simple question, but it opened up a whole new way to communicate. Phrases like this, combined with kindness and a little courage, made a big difference. Before closing my notebook, I made a promise to myself. Tomorrow, I would try to have an even longer conversation. Maybe at the market, or perhaps with a neighbor. Each day was a chance to grow, and I was ready to embrace it. Looking out at the peaceful streets of Sunnyville, I smiled. This town wasn't just helping me learn English, it was helping me find my voice.